The year is 1958. The Cold War rages silently across continents, a shadow war of ideologies and iron curtains. In the heart of America, at the McDonnell Aircraft Corporation plant in St. Louis, nestled beside the roaring runways of Lambert Field, a beast is awakening. Not of flesh and bone, but of titanium and thunder. This is the story of the F-4 Phantom II, the versatile jet that would dominate the skies, forged in the fires of necessity and human ingenuity. Declassified archives reveal a tale of sweat-soaked assembly lines, the acrid scent of welding torches, and the unyielding pulse of a nation at the brink. Imagine the scene. The factory floor stretches like a battlefield, over 1 million square feet of controlled chaos. Massive overhead cranes groan under the weight of fuselage sections, their chains rattling like distant artillery. Workers in grease-stained overalls, their faces etched with the grit of long shifts, maneuver colossal components with precision born of pride and purpose. The air is thick with the metallic tang of aluminum alloy, the sharp ozone of arc welders, and the low rumble of hydraulic presses stamping out wing spars. This is where the F-4 Phantom II was born, not in a sterile lab, but in the raw, sensorial symphony of American manufacturing might. The origins trace back to 1953, when the U.S. Navy sought a successor to the F-3H Demon. McDonnell engineers, led by visionaries like Dave Lewis, chief of aerodynamics, huddled in the Advanced Design Cage, a modest cluster of desks and drafting boards partitioned off in the St. Louis factory. Amid the clatter of typewriters and the scratch of pencils on blueprints, they reimagined a single-seat interceptor into a twin-engine marvel. The Navy's demands evolved: all-weather capability, supersonic speed, and versatility for fleet defense. By 1955, the design solidified, a two-seater with a radar operator to handle the complex avionics. The XF-4H, one prototype rolled out, its sleek lines hiding the brute force within. Sensory immersion. Feel the vibration as the first prototype's engines ignite on May 27, 1958. Pilot Robert C. Little grips the stick, the cockpit enveloping him in a cocoon of dials and switches. The General Electric J-79 turbojets, two beasts each churning out 10,900 pounds of dry thrust, surging to 17,000 with afterburners, roar to life. Black smoke trails behind, a signature plume that would later haunt pilots in combat, marking them like targets in the sky. The aircraft lifts off, piercing the air at Mach 2.23, its titanium spine flexing under G-forces that would crush lesser machines. But challenges loomed. Lateral instability demanded a 5-degree dihedral on the wings, outer panels angled at 12 degrees to maintain carrier compatibility. Air intakes, perforated with 12,500 tiny holes per side, bled boundary layer air to prevent compressor stalls, an engineering triumph born of wind tunnel trials where models shuddered under simulated hurricanes. Production ramped up in the early 1960s, the St. Louis plant transforming into a wartime arsenal. By 1961, the first F-4B variants rolled off the line, 649 in total, for the Navy and Marines. The factory hummed 24/7, shifts overlapping in a ballet of human endurance. Workers like those remembered in oral histories, veterans of the line in the late 1960s, spoke of the relentless pace, riveting fuselages by hand, the hammer's rhythmic thud echoing through their bones, wiring intricate avionics harnesses under harsh fluorescent lights that cast long shadows, and the ever-present danger of heavy machinery where a misplaced step could mean disaster. One worker, as recounted by a family friend, described the Phantom Fixers, ground crew nicknames, as unsung heroes, their calloused hands assembling the 9 external hardpoints capable of carrying 18,650 pounds of ordnance, AIM, 7 Sparrow missiles for beyond visual range kills, AIM 9 Sidewinders for dogfights, and bombs that could level battlefields. Engineering details unfold like classified blueprints. The F-4's airframe, a semi-monocoque of aluminum, titanium, and steel, weighed in at 30,000 pounds empty, ballooning to 61,795 pounds loaded. Its APQ-72 radar, housed in a bulbous nose, could detect targets 50 miles out, guiding missiles with pulse Doppler precision in later upgrades. No internal cannon in early models. Oversight rectified in the F-4E with the M61 Vulcan, a 20mm rotary gun spewing 6,000 rounds per minute. Avionics evolved, from the AN/AAA-4 infrared search pod to the AN/AVQ-26 pave tac for laser-guided strikes. The J-79 engines, with their axial flow compressors and variable stator vanes, delivered a top speed of 1,473 miles per hour at 40,000 feet, a ceiling of 60,000 feet, and a combat radius of 367 nautical miles. But they smoked, visibly, at military power, a flaw mitigated in smokeless variants for stealthier operations. Human emotion weaves through the steel. In 1967, McDonnell merged with Douglas, forming McDonnell Douglas, injecting capital amid Vietnam's escalating demands. The factory swelled to over 30,000 employees, many veterans or families touched by war. Strikes hit in 1975, 19,000 workers walking out in Missouri and California over wages, their picket lines a stark contrast to the assembly lines inside. Amid the tension, pride endured. Engineers like Herman Barkey innovated under pressure, solving hydraulic failures that plagued early flights, gear refusing to retract, a heart-stopping moment for test pilots. Pilots' tales add pathos. Commander Lawrence E. Flint Jr. in Operation Top Flight, zooming to 98,557 feet, the thin air biting cold through the canopy, or Lieutenant Richard Gordon and Lieutenant Bobby Young in Operation Lana, crossing the continent in 2 hours 47 minutes, the G-forces pressing like invisible hands. As variants proliferated, F-4C for the Air Force in 1963, with dual controls and boom refueling, F-4D with improved radar, F-4E adding the gun and leading-edge slats for better maneuverability, the factory adapted. Reconnaissance RF-4CS, with cameras in the nose, spied from above. Exports flowed, 175 F-4FS to Germany, assembled with German components shipped to St. Louis, 138 F-4EJs license-built in Japan by Mitsubishi. The plant's pulse quickened during Vietnam, producing over 2,600 for the USAF alone. Phantoms screamed over Hanoi, dropping twice the bomb load of a World War II B-17, their pilots like Colonel Robin Olds claiming 2 MiG-17s in one sortie on May 20, 1967, the adrenaline rush of afterburners kicking in, the shudder of missile launches, the acrid smell of cordite lingering in the cockpit. Yet, shadows loomed, accidents claimed lives, from mid-air collisions to crashes in training. The F-4's brute power demanded respect, the last plane that looked like it was made to kill somebody, as Colonel Chuck de Bellevue put it. It could plow through bird flocks and kick out barbecue from the back, a visceral testament to its durability. In the factory, workers forged this beast, their labor a quiet heroism. By 1972, Project B-Line upgraded Navy models to F-4N and F-4S, adding smokeless engines and digital fire control, innovations tested on the St. Louis ramps, where the roar of taxiing jets drowned conversations. Production peaked, then waned. On October 25, 1979, the last U.S.-built F-4E, serial 78-0744, rolled out at Lambert Field, destined for South Korea. No grand ceremony marked the end, just the quiet shutdown of lines that had birthed 5,057 Phantoms. The factory, once alive with the clang of tools and the whine of turbines, fell silent on this chapter. But the legacy endures: 280 air-to-air victories, service in Desert Storm, and a record as the most produced supersonic American jet. Fade out, the Phantom's silhouette against a setting sun, engines fading to a whisper. In the echoes of St. Louis, the F-4 stands as a monument to human will, engineered precision meeting emotional resolve, dominating the Cold War skies with unyielding versatility.